What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Batman issue number 3, written by Matt Fraction with artwork by Jorge Jiménez. So I'm behind on comic book reviews from last week. It was a very chaotic couple of days, so I'm going to at least get this one out today, and then I'm going to get the rest of the things out tomorrow, and then I should be all fully 100% cut up before the new comic books drop on Wednesday. So look forward to all that stuff. But in the meantime, let's talk about Batman issue number 3 by Matt Fraction and all that. So it's just kind of picking up where the last thing left off. We know Tim Drake was shot, and there's corruption in GCPD, kind of stuff we've seen before. We open up the issue on a kid named Houston Gray who is putting together a civics project, and he's interviewing this old lady about how Gotham has kind of changed a lot over the years, which it definitely has. I mean, look at all the timeline changes and look at where it started and where it's at now. It's a wild place to be. But as he's recording, going outside, he sees the shot people, and he sees Vandal Savage planting evidence to put Batman at the scene of the crime. So it's still wild that Vandal Savage is actually the commissioner. I wish they would just kind of drop him and get rid of him soon. But that's probably not going to happen for a long time. He even threatens one of the cops by choking off his oxygen to imply, like, hey, you better fall in line with what I got to say or you're in a world of hurt, buddy. Bruce also goes to try and check on Tim, and Bernard is there. Yeah, remember Bernard? Yeah, he's still around, and he gives Bruce some sass, saying, whenever you go on these things with Tim, he's always getting hurt, and these flowers are lovely. I'm going to give them to Tim, not you. And then Bruce is kind of left there like, okay then. Didn't Bernard already know Tim Drake was Robin? Unless I'm missing something. So I didn't really I saw a little bit of that at the beginning of that Tim Drake Robin book, which was really bad. But it's kind of a blur to me. But yeah, so Bernard is still around. I still don't like how they just broke Tim and Steph off panel without any sort of build up to it whatsoever. Oh, hey, you're together. Oh, actually, no, here it is. But here's Bernard. Okay, thanks for just kind of throwing years of that other thing away for this, but if they actually had build up to it, it would have been more meaningful. But it is whatever. I don't care. But just a thought for that. But anyway, so we have this Dr. Zeller lady who's being interviewed by Hugo Strange, and she has some sort of neural device that she's been working on, and Bruce is kind of keeping an eye on that. So she's definitely doing some stuff at Arkham that his company's funding and all that, so he's going to do some more investigating into it. While he's there, he's thinking back to this Dr. Zeller, and he's just kind of zonked out for whatever reason. Maybe he's got the hots for her and he just wants to sleep with her, or he's thinking about her device or something. But him and Damian have some training stuff together, and Damian's like, you're distracted, and Bruce mentions how Damian was accepted into Gotham University 4 years early, and I don't like that idea. I know Damian's smart and intelligent and all this stuff, but he really shouldn't be going to college 4 years early. The whole purpose of him going to high school was to really kind of get that social interaction that he desperately needs with the everyday Gotham citizens, and having him just bypass all that 4 years early to go to university just takes away a lot of formative years and fun development that we can have with his character and that too. So if Matt Fraction is just going to throw that away and just throw him to Gotham University to kind of get him out of there or something like that, I despise that idea. The whole point of him going was to mingle with kids his age. We know Damian's smart. We know he's capable of doing all these incredible things, and he's smarter than the kids at his school, but the whole point of him was just to kind of have an everyday kind of social life, meet people his age and get to know them and such. And I trying to bypass that, which it said he was accepted, doesn't mean he's necessarily going, which I don't really want to see. So hopefully not. But yeah, Fraction also kind of writes him a little bit more sassier. And now it's good to have some of that sass, but it does feel kind of out of place compared to what's going on with Philip Kennedy Johnson, where Damian has a little bit more maturity. He's kind of written to be a little bit more bratty here, and I got that for some of the flashback stuff, but he really shouldn't be this way. It just feels out of line with what's going on with Philip Kennedy Johnson stuff, and Damian just kind of scoffs at all these things that he should already know. But where's the working relationship that he had with Bruce and Batman and Robin, where he was a lot more mature and it just seemed like they were on really good page together, and now it just feels like he's kind of regressing into more of a bratty self in some ways too. So I don't get it. It just feels a little off to me. It just feels like we're just kind of ignoring that once again, especially with the whole Gotham U thing. Like, the whole reason, why would you even have him do that? And I get this writer clearly favors Tim Drake as a character, and that's fine. Everyone has their preferences, but I just would rather not have Damian in the book if it's going to be that way. So, and just let Phil Kennedy Johnson write him for right now. So, but again, that's me as a fan of this character, just seeing some inconsistencies and just how he's been kind of portrayed. And this is a tendency that happens a lot with Damian in a lot of books, where you'll have one writer kind of matures him, and then another writer who doesn't seem to be keeping up to date with what's going on in the other stuff just kind of regresses him back to more of a bratty self. He's supposed to be a bit more mature at this point, and I get kind of talking a little crap to Bruce, but yeah, it just, him scoffing at all this stuff like art, like, why would he scoff at art? He's an artist. He loves to draw. Did we just see him drawing his own little like self-insert fan fiction comic book? So why is he scoffing at that? And is he trying to go to like med school to become like a doctor? I don't know. It just feels like there's a little bit of a inconsistency going on there, but that's just me. So again, he's only in there for like 2 pages, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it just leaves me with just nobody like follow the other books. So yeah, we got that going on. We also have Gordon and Bullock talking some stuff together. Bruce is at Wayne Enterprises doing his thing. Somebody mentions these contracts. He's like, I'm not going to do some military stuff. Well, what about the Zeller thing? And Bruce is going to kind of go investigate. We talk about how Savage is trying to show a ruthlessness where he's going to try and make Batman his #1 public enemy, which is stuff we've kind of seen before. We also see a bit of Riddler in there, and he's got one of these things strapped to his head. We get to see Batman's stealth suit, which is cool. It feels like a precursor to the Batman Beyond thing, and I'm like, why doesn't he use the stealth suit more often? It looks really cool and all that. At first I was like, is that Batman? But I'm like, oh yeah, it is, but he's got the red eyes, so I was thinking maybe it was like an evil thing. But he gets into a scuffle with Riddler. Riddler's just constantly like saying all sorts of riddles, but his brain's kind of fried. Like, he's just constantly repeating stuff. He can't shut it down. So Batman basically sedates him, and he comes to find out that there's some stuff going on at Arkham. Meanwhile, the kid at the very beginning of the thing, who had some video evidence of Vandal Savage, goes to a guy at the newspaper, and so maybe that'll be how Vandal Savage gets taken down. And then it kind of ends with them saying, okay, there's something going on at Arkham. The Zeller characters might be doing some suspicious stuff. And that's basically where we end the issue off. Jorge Jiménez's artwork is really solid from start to finish here. There's some good little action bits in there. But, you know, I have a few gripes with it as a whole. I'm not a big fan of Vandal Savage as a GCPD, but that's kind of a leftover plot line that Fraction inherited. So hopefully this will lead to Savage being outed, and then we can kind of get him away from being the commissioner of the GCPD. How long has it been since Gordon's been like a GCPD commissioner? Now he's like a beat cop, and it feels like he's kind of been regressed down to just that anymore. He was like a private detective, but it just feels like it's been a couple of years since we've had that. I'm just like, maybe I know the status quo can sometimes get a little boring, but it feels like we've been away from the true like Batman status quo for a really long time. I hope we can kind of get back to some of that stuff right there. So there's a few good elements in this thing, a few things that kind of leave me griping like, this could have been a little bit better. I don't think this is the strongest issue of this run so far. I think issue 1 and 2 were a little bit better in some ways, but you know, this is just kind of okay, elevated in a lot of ways by Jorge Jiménez's artwork, and you know, that's my main takeaway right there too. So, and I'm intrigued to see where the storyline with the kid who videotaped goes. Maybe it'll showcase a more ruthless nature of the GCPD that are corrupt and going after this kid, and Batman has to save him or something like that too. So we shall see. But what did you all think of the issue? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Are you kind of indifferent to it? Like I am, like, you know, it was just kind of all right. I have some gripes, and you know, it's not like the worst thing I've read, but it's nothing like to write home about, all things considered. Like, I'm just, by the time this video is done, I'm not really going to think much of this issue going into next month. It didn't leave me really all that intrigued or excited going forward. So, but I guess some people are liking this run so far, but we're only 3 issues in. You got to give it a little bit more time, unless it's downright terrible. So we'll see what happens next. So yeah, all right, well, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.